When we began looking into the subject of children involved in gangs or youths involved with gangs, we found very quickly that we had some major misconceptions about the problem. And we think that it's very likely that the other citizens of Orange County share many of those misperceptions. So we focused quite a bit in our report on that, because if we're going to solve the gang problems, the people of Orange County really need to understand the problem. As far as our misconceptions, here's a few of them. When we started the report, many of us felt that the average age at which we should start gang prevention activities with children would be middle school. We've found out since that that's way too far along, that elementary school is much more appropriate, and that kindergarten is not too early to begin with gang prevention activities. We also felt that the children would be the target of these programs primarily, and we learned from some people who've been working at this a lot longer than we've been looking at it, that if we're going to do it cost effectively, we need to work also with the families of those children. The reason is that many of the children that are at risk for gang activity come from very large families. If we deal only with the child who's at risk or has begun to get into trouble, then we miss the opportunity to work with their parents and to help see that they're more able to prevent their younger children from becoming involved and to help other siblings in the family. Another misconception we'd heard through the newspapers that gang membership in Orange County was dropping, and it is in fact dropping as far as overall numbers, primarily due to the excellent work being done by a lot of the people that you see here today. And that's great, but we also couldn't help but notice that the youngest gang participants, membership for those is not dropping, it's actually going up. A big misconception that it costs a lot of money to fight against gangs, to provide gang intervention. We'd like to say that while it certainly does cost some money, we have a little display here with which we might like to make the point that it costs a lot more money not to try to prevent children from joining gangs. So clearly shows by the time a child who's become involved in gang activity reaches the age of 12 years old, there's been already a significant amount of money, approximately $65,000, that has to be spent on helping that child, on investigating crimes they've committed, on law enforcement handling that, and in some cases on prosecution and incarceration. By the time that child reaches the age of 14, the amount of money has jumped up to approximately $230,000 that the community will have to pay to cover the effects of that child becoming involved in gangs. And then the most compelling statistic of all, if that child becomes a lifetime career criminal, the costs to the community jump up to above $5 million that the community will have to spend on the care, the prosecution, often the defense as well of those people.
I don't accept the idea that we always are destined to have gangs in our midst. I look forward to the day that we'll be able to say that we don't have gangs. I mean, we need to work really hard on it. We need to make sure that the role models that we have are not gang members. You know, what happens is that we're working hard to prosecute gang members and to get them in prison and to have injunctions and to get them away from the rest of us. And at the same time, the gangs, the hardcore gangs, are working hard to recruit our children to join the gangs. So it's up to us. It's up to law enforcement, working in conjunction with all of the other law enforcement agencies, the schools, and also private sector kinds of societies, businesses, and so forth. But I think most importantly, the parents, the parents of the kids, the people in our community need to know that that we tend to become our role models. We tend to do that which we're thinking about a lot. And if we have role models who are gang members, then then our kids are going to become gang members. So it's up to the parents to recognize that the kids are starting to look up to gang members and to put a stop to that, and to to do what's necessary to keep an eye on their kids and not let them go in that direction, and to have better role models, mentors from the business community, from the education community, from law enforcement that they could look up to.